Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sonia.
Hi, Sebastian. How are you?
I'm pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. We are just launching the first webinar in English today of the year.
Yep.
I know it's end of February, but still first of the year. So we're going to be talking about exporting the products.
Yep.
Your PrestaShop store using Store Commander, of course. So
Obviously.
we already did a webinar about exporting tools, but that was like general. But this one is going to be really like tutorial on how to export your products with all the options you have available in Stock.
Yeah, it's going to be a step-by-step tutorial.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be quite useful for all of you. So welcome
Definitely.
everyone. So we're going to go on the next slide.
Slide.
So we Sebastian and myself today, and I'm going to over to you, Seb.
Yep. And we will start as usual with answering the question, what's Store Commander? And you may know Store Commander. It is an online store management module designed for e-merchants. And thanks to its ergonomic interface, you will be able to structure, manage, and visualize all of your data from a single screen. And like we say, we like to introduce Stock Commander by saying we simplify complexity. And how do we achieve that target? With four main points, four main functions. The first one being the data mass management. In Store Commander, you will be able to create, manage your products, your orders, customers, and that in bulk. There are many functionalities that will allow you to save time in your day-to-day activity. The second point is the CSV file import and export tool. You will be able to either extract data from your shop or import data to create new products, to modify existing products. And the good thing about those tools is that they are fully customizable.
Mm.
Therefore, you decide what you want to extract and what you want to import in your shop. The third point is the product discount setup. Thanks to Stock Commander, in within Stock Commander, you will be able to schedule your prices and promotions through a dedicated interface. Through that interface, you will be able to control your margins, round up your prices, and all of that in bulk. Once again, that will allow you to save time. And last but not least, when working in a multi-store environment with Stock Commander, you will be able to work again in bulk. You can share your product information, but not only products. You can also share your categories information, features informations, etc. And you will be able to customize each store to fit your needs.
Mm.
And we have many more functionalities depending the plan you have subscribed with us. And I believe we will be talking about a bit of those functionalities in the next slides, Sonia.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. This is the plus plans, and those plus plans include tons and tons of tools. For example, you will be able to segment your data, products, order, customers. It is a very, very powerful tool, and we did a webinar on that, and
Mm.
I invite you guys to watch it. You will be able to customize your Stock Commander interface. You can add custom fields to the interface, the import and export tool. You will be able also to export all of your orders data and also your customers. We have a tool that allows you to improve your images. You can cut out the background, play on the what do you call that? Play on the settings of your photo. Not the
Mm.
settings,
Special
but
effects, yeah. Mm.
yeah, special effects. Thank you, Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
And we also work with different partners. And in Stock Commander, you will find, for example, the advanced search pages. You can manage the SEO
Yeah.
pages if you're using that particular module. You will have also a special property or feature if you have integrated every parts on your store,
Mm,
and we work with motive upsellers and many more.
yeah, plenty. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
I've
plenty
got
of
quite a few.
partners.
So
Yep.
um, so there are two plans: the standard plan and the plus plans. When you have all the other settings, and like Sebastian said, some of them have we made webinars on them, especially on
Mhm.
the segmentation. So
Yep.
don't hesitate to go onto our website to get the replays. And this one will also be available as a replay at the end of the session. So don't hesitate to reread the session if need be.
Yep.
So today is going to be the export specific on products. And like we said, the benefits of exporting, you can export everything on your products. So from SEO to prices to images, etc. So they're allowing you to either improve your shop. So if you can improve, for example, the SEO, you can export the SEO information, modify it, and then use the import to apply those modifications. It's also used, of course, to publish on marketplaces. If you publish your products on marketplaces, you can export, well, create a CSV file using our export tool. So it's very simple and fast. So we're going to be seeing that in a minute.
Yep.
So and to update your product pages as well. So that's I'm talking about SEO, but you can do prices, features, images, everything, descriptions. So that allows you to have like really clean product pages on your website.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm just going to go skip to this one. So yeah, well, I'm just a little bit ahead, but we're going to see
Mhm.
a step-by-step tutorial on this export tool. We're going to be seeing all the options available, and of course the best practice, of course, to save you time and like it says, improve reliability and agility.
Mhm.
The session will have, so I'm going to swap the screen to go on the Store Commander demo site. After the session, you have obviously question time. So, but don't hesitate to ask your questions at the bottom. You've got the questions tab or the chat, whichever you want to use. So don't hesitate if you have questions during the presentation, so we can answer it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's swap onto a demo screen. This one. So I'm on a version 1.7.8, but we're compatible up to the latest 8 version. So, and you have Store Commander available in the modules menu. Knowing my site is in French, but if you have it in English, you will have also the Store Commander here. So just clicking on it to open my Store Commander. And I think it should be already in
Yep.
English and the French here, so I can swap my products. Okay, so like I said, you can export everything on the product page. Whatever you have on the product, you can export using Store Commander. So the export tool is under the catalogs menu, CSV export here. Right, so I'm just going to make it as a big screen for the visibility. So you've got a few panels that I'm resizing for you. The top one is where you will have all your scripts. We call them script because once you've created this, when you start your export at the bottom here, we will be exporting everything you would be indicating on that line. So the line is called the script.
Mhm.
So I've got one here already. So, so I'm just going to create one. So the plus, the minus to delete, but the plus to create. So I'm just going to create a new script. I'm going to call it webinar, for example. The title doesn't really matter. It's only for you, really. So it's really internal. On here, we're exporting, so there is no impact on your products at all. It's only exporting the data. So
Mhm.
if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter really. You can retry it. It's not going to impact your shop whatsoever. So, and like I said, we've got a few columns. So just being very disciplined, I just do one column, one after the other. Okay, so the first one is the mapping, because when you're going to export, you need to decide what information you want to export. So SEO, stock, prices, etc. And of which products. and I will be selecting the categories of those products you want to export. So the first one is the mapping, which is the fields you want to export. So the mapping has got its own panel here. For the time being, it's empty because I haven't created the mapping. So if I say I want to rework my prices, I want to export the reference of my products and the name to know what the reference goes with the name, and the price excluding tax, for example. Okay, so I need three fields. So on the plus again, I'm going to click and I want 3 lines. I've got the 3 lines appearing in my mapping. And then in that column called database field, this is where I double click. Like everywhere in Store Commander, you double click to see the drop down menus. And you have the list of everything you can export. Okay, so I'm going to use my keyboard. So I wanted the reference. So I type R to get the reference. I wanted the name of the product, and I wanted the price excluding tax. Okay. In that mapping, there will be a few columns, so some options that you need to complete. Everything that has a colored cell needs to be completed. So, for example, in my shop, I've got different languages, so I want the name in English. And all the options is if you have combinations or not. We need to, if you want to export the reference associated to your product or to the combinations, and we have an extra one to export the product value if there is no reference on the combination. If you don't know, use a default. Same with the prices. If you want to export the price that's on the product or on the combination, if you have combinations. Same again, if you don't know, use default, which I'm going to be doing. So once I can add a new field, if I wanted to add, I don't know, the stock, for example, I just click on the plus and add a new line and add the stock. The stock is quantity in PrestaShop terms. And I use quantity, for example. If I don't want quantity in the end, I just remove it. Okay, it's very flexible. Again, no impact on your shop. It's really you defining your export file. So once I've done this, I need to name it. So I'm just going to call it price. I'm saving it. It's compulsory. You have to save it, otherwise it won't work. But the aim of like saving your mapping is because now on your line at the top, again, double click to get the drop down menu. You have all your mappings that you've previously saved. So next week, if I want to do the same one, I'm not going to redo a new mapping. You know, with Store Commander, you don't do repetition. So here you can save all your mappings, so you can have as many as you want. Here I've got one for translation, I've got a template, I've got stock, etc. So you can create as many mapping as you want. And then once you create your script here, then on the drop down, you select what you want to export. Okay. Very flexible, so it's a mix and match of mapping. And the next one is of what product, and the products are the categories. Same again, if I double click, I know that last week I created a category selection for Valentine's Day because it was Valentine's, so I selected my Valentine's Day here, so I can select it. But if I want a new one, then I just create a new one called, I don't know, I'm on the category panel. I just want the
fashion area or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just going to the chairs.
Chairs.
I call it chairs. I save chairs. And then in my drop down, I have chairs.
Amazing.
Simple as that. So and I can do chairs with the mapping price or SEO, whichever. So create different mappings, different category selections, and then you create your script and you select whatever is already available. So you don't waste time recreating what you already did previously. And you can remodify, of course, if needed. So the mapping, what I want to export, the categories to export, which products, and then the export file name. So I want to call it price, and that's it. This is the 3 main columns. If you don't have the 3 columns, then you won't be able to export here. You will have a message saying you don't have a mapping, or you don't have a category selection, or you're missing a name. So don't worry about it. If you're missing something, we will tell you anyway in this panel.
Yeah.
There are a few other options to decide whether you want to export product disabled, so the active and inactive products on your shop. I'm just going to skip this one for now. I'll just talk about it in a minute. If the products have stock or not. Okay, so this is a filtering tool. And if I want to export by default category, so if the category I've selected are default category or not. And the encoding. So if you're working on a PC with Excel, just keep that option ticked, because Excel will read the encoding ISO 8859, if I remember well. If you're on a Mac, for example, you can untick because it will be encoding in UTF-8.
Yep.
So it all depends. Again, there is no modification on your shop. Export that way. If you open your file and you've got accent problem, or the accentuated characters, if you have like symbols, then untick the option and run your export again.
Yeah.
So if you have a problem with the encoding, well, with the accent in your file, that would be because of that option. So tick or untick it, depending on if you're PC, Mac, and if you're using Excel or OpenOffice or any other tool. And the one I've left out is the export combination. So if I have combinations on my shop, this is where I was asking if when I wanted the reference and the price excluding tax, the default behavior. So the default behavior would be according to that option. So if I'm taking export combination, therefore, the default behavior is to export the reference of combinations. Okay, if you don't have combinations on your shop, or you want information that's not related to combinations, then you can untick it. Because if you tick it and you have combinations, your file will have one line per combinations with the information of the combinations, of course. So that's the basics. You don't need anything else. After that, you've got field separators for like having columns. And if you have like multiple values, well, in that one, I don't have multiple values, but if you were to export, for example, categories, you can export, if I add one line to export what categories my products are in. Okay, then I will have the name of the categories separated by a comma, because this is the default value. But if you want pipe or tabulation, you can. But the default one is comma. So I can, well, just I'm not gonna do the categories anyway. So I can remove it.
It's very easy to add, remove. It's one of the strengths of the export tool, obviously.
But remember, well, this is what I do anyway, just to make sure, because I don't know whether I've made changes or not. Before you export here, just save and save. Do 2 clicks just to be sure, because if you export your file and then it takes like, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then you end up saying, oh no, I forgot to save because I added a new field or something else, then you have to run it again. So make sure you save and save. It's only a couple of clicks, and then you can export. And that's it. I mean, I don't have that many products on my shop, so this is very quick. So the file is saved on your server, on your FTP server, if you want to get it. But otherwise, you can click on this to open it. Or we also have the history of all exported files. Oops. So I can click here as well if I want to open the file. So if I click this one up, I just open it up. And
it is saved on your computer directly.
Yes. And it's here. It's on my other screen. Sorry, I'm just going to open it up on the other side.
And there you go.
Here we go. And then I put the prices with nothing. Oh no. Here you go. So I do have my 3 columns that I've asked for: the reference, the name, and the price, excluding tax. So I can rework my prices and then save that file, and then use the import tool install commander to import, to apply those changes to my products. So there's no difficulties, I think, in the export file, but obviously I'm using it for quite some time now. So, but if you do need to, then you can always, like, we have obviously tutorials and everything on our knowledge base, and this tutorial as well. But the main thing is obviously the mapping and the
Category selection.
category selections.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Do you want to add anything on that?
Well, I can see many strengths to the export tool. No, the first one is all the options available for our merchants, and also being connected to the database, we have access to all of the fields, meaning that there's almost no limits at the export tool,
Mm-mm.
and you can simply tailor your export to your needs. And we have also something, and I believe we will be talking about it shortly.
Mhm.
It's the modifications column in the
Yes.
mapping.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do have, I haven't spoken to the two columns yet,
Hmm.
modifications and column names.
Hmm.
That's used either for you to modify the information before exporting, because the goal of Store Commander is to save you time.
Hmm.
So if you were to export lots of information, and for example, like if I export prices, and my task is to increase the prices of these products of chairs and armchairs by 2%, for example. Okay, so I export, then I use a formula in Excel, and then I re-import. To help you do that and to save you time, we can add that in a formula here that will add the 2% to those prices during the export process.
Yeah.
So once you get your file, then there are already 2% added to the price including tax. So you don't have to do anything. Okay, so we do have a lot of, I'm just going to go here in the, so it's not this one. Okay, I'm just going to go on the other tab to
Yeah.
go into the database just to show you. Sorry, I should have prepared that before.
Well, I have the link if you need to.
Okay.
I can put it in the chat directly. Hup. Here are the paste.
Yeah, you should do on there. So you can add, they're like PHP
Yeah, formulas.
formula. Yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
And there's one which is very interesting if you need to export by manufacturer. Instead of
Yes.
exporting all of your catalog data and then filter through Excel, you can do it directly with a formula in the modifications column. That's very
Yes.
useful. That's
So yeah,
again to save you time.
yeah, it's used to either modify the information or to filter. So like for
Hmm.
prices or reference or stock or etc., you can say export the price, the prices of these products and add 2%, for example. You can also add a little bit to round it up to up or down. Well, you can. The formulas are really useful, or
Yep.
you can use it as a filter. So export all the products, but only the one associated to the manufacturer that will add in this modification column.
Hmm.
So really useful. That helps you have a perfect file once it's exported. So again, saving you time instead of letting you do these formulas once you've exported the file.
Hmm. Exactly.
So yeah, I'm just clicking on your link. Here we go. Up. Just going to put it on this screen.
And I think that's your cookies, Sonia.
Yes, I do have a cookie problem. Here we go.
There you go. Ah,
No.
nope, still not. That
Oh,
always happens in live, no? During the live sessions.
right.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Sebastian
Yeah.
just put it in the chat, so please do click on it because obviously I have a cookie issue on
You
my
need to
Chrome
eat
as
your
always.
cookies.
So don't worry about it. We have like lots of formula.
Mhm.
The list is not exhaustive, of course, so don't hesitate
Yep.
if you don't have the one that you need. Please use the little chat bottom right of your screen
Mhm.
to let us know what you want to do, and we'll ask our developers to give us the formula for you to add here. So this is really good for that. The only thing you can use it for is if you're publishing onto marketplaces. Obviously, the names
That's very good point.
or the manufacturers or the prices or the stock, etc. The information you're going to be exporting will need to be reworked. So you
Hmm.
can rework it by using a formula here. And you can also, because when you're going to be creating that file to post it then onto any marketplace like Amazon or eBay, etc., they're going to be using different names for the fields. For example, in PrestaShop, we use the term reference, but on Amazon, for example, it's called SKU. Okay, so again, to avoid you having to replace all the titles of your file, you can do that here first. So instead of reference, the title of my file will not be reference, but it will be SKU.
Hmm.
Okay, and same with the price. I can just use price like this, and the name will be product, for example. Okay. Of course, I need to save. And when I'm going to be exporting, my column title will be SKU, product, price, and manufacturers. And if here I have a formula, then it will be only manufacturer products associated with manufacturer's name I've added here. And I can add a formula here to add 2% increase or decrease, whichever you want, so that the prices are fine. And then you can send that file directly to your marketplace. So this is really, really good. Again, saving you time. And going further as well, if you publish to marketplaces with always the same information,
Hmm.
no need to like go and reconfigure once again and again. But anyway, if you save it, if I close the export and then go back to it, obviously the script is still here. But because this is saved on your server, we create little configuration files. And these configuration files can be used for you to automate your export. So once you've done, you've configured it, then you can set up a cron task on your server that will export that same file whenever you want. That's configured on your server. So every Friday, 3 p.m., for example, or every day at 3 p.m., whichever you configure on your cron task. But again, saving you time. And it can be also sent
Hmm.
afterwards by your server to your marketplace automatically as well.
That's what I wanted to say. I believe you are reading my mind.
I
You're a
do.
mind reader. You have powers. But yeah, that's what I wanted to add. You can automate your exports. You can also add custom fields to your exports, and I mean,
Of course.
there's no limits
Of
to
course,
that
of
tool.
course, of course. We have
Like,
another tool that helps you customize your store commander, so the interface, but
mhm,
also the export and the import. If somebody, your developer or your agency added some custom fields to your PrestaShop store, which is very common, they won't be available in your store commander by default, but you can add them. So
mhm,
it's very complete as well. You don't need to go back to your PrestaShop store or complete your CSV file with those fields. You can add them directly and they
yeah,
will be available in that list here. So same again, very, very, very complete indeed. So like Thomas said, yeah, we compress the export import enough. Yeah, that's true. It's just so easy, and because it's so easy to use, and it's really you decide what you want to export.
mhm,
So here I did a custom export. So the reference because I wanted the prices and the manufacturer. There are many, many fields. So if you don't know what you can export or what the format exported, you can also create, like we said, a template of all the fields. But obviously here I added the number of fields. You're not going to be
mhm,
doing that. So the other option, I'm just going to create a new one. I'm going to call it template, for example.
mhm.
And my template, my mapping. So I'm not going to add, I don't know, 35 fields and then do it manually one by one. Remember, we're here to save you time. So
Exactly.
you're not going to be doing that one by one. Of course, we have these two options here that will allow you to, well, we are doing it actually, to load all the fields. So the first one is this one, which is fields for import, for migration, perfect. You click on that and we load all the fields that have on your shop, that's features, images, categories, description in all languages, because on my shop I've got four languages. So you can export that. That will be used to import afterwards. You don't even need to do any modifications. You can obviously using the modification columns or on your exported file if need be. But this one would just be perfect. You just export that. You select all your categories. So I just do all. I'm just going to simple all and all.
That's amazing.
And I export all the fields of my shop of all my products in one file. I don't need to do modification. I take that file, I go on my other shop, and I just import it, and I will create all the products, all the categories, with all the information that's in the file.
And all of that in less than a minute.
Yes,
And
depending
that's
on the
where I want to say you're a wizard, Sonia.
why.
Because you can do magic.
Yeah, of course, of course. So,
Thanks to Stock Commander.
yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't develop it, so it's just the that goes to the dev team.
The dev team, yeah.
Yeah, completely. So this one is very useful. There's another one. So if I just go back, I saved it. Okay, it's still here, but I didn't associate it to my script. That's why when I reselect it, it's empty. The other one is this one. This one will load all of them. So it's nice to have a file with everything that's available, but it's a bit pointless because you never use everything. So that's going to be a massive file. But if you want to export everything that's available, then you can do that. But you're going to need to clean the file a little afterwards, because that combinations, you have all the different languages, you've got all the various, you've got features, we've got the ID features as well. That's not imported, that cannot be imported. That's why we don't have it in the previous options. You've got all the IDs, categories, product, suppliers, the images as well, the legends. So everything is available, all the links to images, if you have products and combinations. You've got everything, absolutely everything that's in that list here. But they're not all importable on the other side, of course, because they are calculated fields as well that can be imported. But you can if you want. That's going to be a huge file.
Yep.
But you can. I mean, the trick is to do this, but only in of one category, for example. There's no need, if you just want to know what the fields are, there's no need to select to take into account all your shop, because it's useless.
It's
You just
pointless.
take
Yeah,
one
yeah.
category or create one category with like a couple of products and export only those products. So you can see if you want another template of your shop.
Yeah. And I'm just going through the.
Well, so you can do specific ones. So you create your own mapping by inserting items here, or you can use these options and all fields to load for import. You can do this one and then remove. So if I don't want combinations, I select and I remove from there. Okay. Same again, if you really don't know, you can load everything. If you wanted only the Spanish information, for example, I can filter all the French, select all the French fields and remove them. You can also use those filters as well. Also, everything that's English, I select everything that's English and I remove everything that's English. So I can do an export file only for Spanish information, for example. So you can use those filters. I have DE as well for German, select all the Germans and remove all the Germans. So now I know that we have Spanish information for the languages file, of course. Not everything has language information. But you can scroll down the list and say, well, no, I don't want this one. I don't want this one. You can remove if you want. You can you can drag and drop as well if you want to reorganize the order. By default, it's going to be in alphabetical order, but you can also manipulate the order if you want. So it's very, very flexible. Everything's available here in that list. Now up to you to decide what you want to export and how you want to do it. The options are here to suit everybody.
Yeah, well, it's a very powerful tool, fully customizable, fits your needs, whatever need you have.
Completely. So, well, I think
we've covered every.
didn't I?
Yeah, we've covered every point Sonia. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just thinking of it, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, just one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you export
Ah.
here, so you export the file. When you click here, that will, well, it's a bit of technical information, but this will create one export process. And because Store Commander is on your server, it's your server that's exporting the file. So that's the server that's processing the export. Okay. If me, I just do one process and it will export the file because I don't have that many products. Even if I use all the fields, that will take me just a few seconds. If you have a shop with like hundreds of thousands of products and combinations, so it's going to be obviously a bigger file. You see my file are like 4Ks, 180Ks. I don't have any mega on my, oh yes, I had one here, 3. But you can obviously on your side, if you try it, a much bigger file, and your server will obviously need a lot of resources, and sometimes it will fail because your server doesn't have enough resources to treat that to process that file. So to be able to do that without using the too much resource on your server, use the what we call the auto export.
Mm-hmm.
The auto export allows you to create different Leo processes. Okay, so it's like exporting in batches. So I want to export 100 lines every 40 seconds. Okay, and I will export 100 files, one process within 40 seconds. I pause, I create a new file, and I add to the file. So the file is building by 100 lines. But on here I can't. Let me do the all and all here, and then do all just to show you. Well, I'm not going to do 100 because I don't have that many, but I'm going to do 2 every 5 seconds, for example. And if I start the export, so it's going to be exporting 2 lines every 5 seconds, and you see it's exporting. So I've got the little arrow, and we already created the file,
Mm-hmm.
okay, here, and we're adding to it every 5 seconds because my interval of time is 5 seconds until the file is complete. So of course, this is 2 lines, 5 seconds. You will be using probably 100 lines every 45 seconds. You have to test depending on your server.
On the server. Yeah.
But this is that's why we've got like solutions for big files, especially when you're migrating.
Yeah.
You might have a big file to export. So to avoid blocking your server, then you can use the auto export.
Mm-hmm. And that same option exists in the import tool.
Yes, on the other side you can
On
import
the other
with
side, yeah.
yeah, same thing, same principle.
Mm-hmm. And I just sent the tutorial in the chat.
Excellent. Merci. So yeah, this one is quite important. So
yeah.
and I think that's it. If I just do refresh, I can see that the size of my file is going up as it's exporting. And I think that's about it. I'm not sure whether there are any questions.
No questions so far. I think we did a
If I go
pretty
back
good job.
here, yeah, it's over to you for the questions. I don't know whether there are any.
Nope.
Nope.
No questions asked.
Okay, cool. So then we must
Yeah.
have good.
Yeah. You've done it very well, Sonia.
Merci, Sébastien. So I've just put on the last slide. So thank you for your attention, of course, and for coming. Again, don't hesitate to contact us if need be. And you've got the email, you've got the phone number as well. We're based in France. That's what we've got, +33, and the little red bubble at the bottom right of your screen when you're on our website, but also in your Store Commander interface. So don't hesitate. Yeah, we've been here for 17 years now, nearly, or more. I can't remember. It's a long, long time.
Yeah, a bit over 17 years of
Yeah, a
experience.
long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And we've put you can't click on it, but don't know whether you had the links to the
I'm gonna put them in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. to network. So we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Yeah.
We also have a YouTube channel and a Vimeo channel as well.
Yes.
But, so we have a few videos, and we're planning on adding a lot more videos on the YouTube channel. So
Hmm.
please do visit.
We will be very active on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sebastian just put all the links, so don't hesitate to
Yes.
click on there. Um,
And follow us on socials media. On
Yeah,
socials. Yeah.
yeah, indeed. Well, I
And
think we're done.
yeah.
So thank you everyone for coming. The replay will be
Thanks
available
everyone.
just afterwards. So thank you again, and see
Yeah.
you for the next
Next time.
one.
Yeah.
Have a
Have a
nice
nice
day.
day. Bye bye.
Bye.